Hello, I'm Tracy Grimshaw. Welcome to A Current Affair. Dick Smith is a self-made millionaire and he owes it all to Australia. That's why he's fighting the growing invasion of foreign food into this country. So he's relaunching his all-Aussie food company to take on the imports.
We are as Australian as you can get. I've bought new premises, I'm putting a lot of money behind this, I'm looking for new staff.
Dick Smith is fighting back. And he has at least one retail general on side.
We will support you, we'll get behind you, you get really good Australian products, we will support you. So Woolworths have agreed to take 10 or 12 new products, that's what I'm going to do. All we then need is the Australian public supporting us.
You know what's happening. Aussie companies have been bought up by foreigners.
Every other country is looking after themselves first except us.
And foreign goods are invading our shores, masquerading as local.
Day in, day out, Aussie consumers are being conned when they go to the supermarket because Australian made doesn't mean that at all.
Well, Dick Smith has had enough. His 100% all Aussie Foods is relaunching and expanding. And if you call yourself a proud Australian, Dick needs you to put your hand in your pocket.
Virtually no Australians buy the cheapest car, right? And many Australians pay a bit extra to send their kids to private schools because they want the best thing for their kids. But most Aussies, from what I can make out, just buy the cheapest food, which is the stuff from China. And you don't know how many pesticides have been used. I know the pollution in China, it's staggering. Why wouldn't you pay a little bit extra for something from an Australian farm that's got to be healthier?
Yes, D-Day has arrived at the supermarket, and this is why.
We have seen product which purports and presents itself as Australian, and it's what we call the AUSBUY effect. It's foreign owned and it's imported, and yet it infers that it's Australian and it is not.
At the offices of AUSBUY, where they support Aussie-owned and made products, Lynn Wilkinson is tired of seeing loyal Aussie shoppers fooled by foreigners. Dairy Farmers Milk in a map of Australia. It boasts to be Australia's milk since 1900. With an Akubra-wearing farmer to boot, owned by the Japanese. Tip-top, with an Aussie map on every loaf. It's British. Vegemite, map highlighting Australia, an Australian-made logo, but American owners. Masterfoods tomato ketchup, made in Australia on front, from local and imported ingredients on the back. Titan toilet paper, Australian-made logo, but from imported or local material.
Certainly in America you cannot use the flag or infer that you're American unless you are, and yet we've got foreign companies infer they're Australian, they use the flag, they use the map of Australia, and they are inferring they're Australian and they are not.
So, if we see this symbol, what are we to think?
I would have thought it would be 100% Australian made.
I would hope it means just that, it's made in Australia.
I hope that it's made in Australia and it's made by an Australian-owned company.
Senator, does this logo mean that the product it's attached to is made in Australia?
Australian made doesn't mean that it was made in Australia. The current rules, the current laws are saying that as long as the product was substantially transformed in Australia, then you can call it made in Australia. Just like Dick, Independent Senator Nick Xenophon has had a gutful. If that isn't deceiving consumers, I don't know what does. Just 51% of a product has to be local to earn this logo. The other near 50% can be foreign.
3/4 of Australians are also confused about exactly what that label means. Most Australians are confused when they see Australian made. They think all the ingredients are Australian and all the manufacturing was Australian, and they're being misled.
At the Australia Institute, researcher Richard Dennis and his team surveyed the nation and found nothing but disappointment.
Suggesting that something's made in Australia when it's only sort of made in Australia or partly made in Australia is obviously disappointing for consumers when they realise this.
More than 10,000 products now bear the Australian-made logo, says Stephanie Salter, even though many are purely put together here from foreign-made goods.
The reality of today's global economy is that manufacturers aren't always able to obtain all the vital components or ingredients that they need to make their products locally.
Those that don't even meet the 51% use other tactics.
Australia What a con. How do they get away with it? Why doesn't anyone prosecute them?
Like these Australia emblazoned dried fruits that are fully imported. Kirk's Australian in bold letters, made since 1865 but owned by America, and a host of other foreign-owned goods with that logo. The entrepreneur, the consumer advocate, the politician, the academic, all four agree companies are playing by the rules, but they want the rules to be changed.
Look, it's a complete con. The labels are a con. They'll never be fixed because these foreign companies are so powerful politically. They donate huge amounts of money to political parties.
Any wonder Dick's relaunching made front page news today. If he gets your support, he reckons his homegrown and owned versions of these may come back under our flag. Oh dear.